Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quantum Conversations. We don't have a special intro today. We have put our editor on summer vacation, and we're about to do the same. So we'll talk about that. How you doing today, Carrie?
I'm doing okay, Sarah. I think that this is going to be a really important conversation because I think what we're about to do, hopefully, will give other people permission to maybe sort through stuff and say no to things that when life feels overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's this year for me has been a lot of eye-opening stuff. I mean, tomorrow I turn 46 and I'm just kind of like, I can feel it more. Well, we talk about that more now. Like my body
Sure.
is giving me clear information. I'm a lot more sensitive to things. And I think that that happens for a lot of people. But what a lot of people end up doing is overriding those signals and just kind of pushing through. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I think I don't know. I mean, I was an athlete, so it's like suck it up and push through. And then, like, as a mom, it's like I got to put everyone else before me and just got to keep going. And oh, you need me to volunteer for the PTO? Sure. Oh, you need me to coach your basketball team? Sure. Like, it's like
Mhm.
give. And there reaches a point where it feels like, wow, I don't feel like myself anymore.
Mhm.
I really feel depleted.
Yeah.
And it's something we try to coach our clients into recognizing before we reach the point of this depletion. Sometimes there's stressors too, Sarah. Like I know you and I have been exposed to additional stressors the past
Yeah.
couple of months that were outside of the realm of our control, but
Right.
really, really impacted us.
Yeah.
And so there's not always stuff that we can control. And this is my body and your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually saying, what can we edit
Mhm.
that we're able to say no to, at least temporarily, that gives us more space back to really do the things that we find are going to bring our body back into restoration.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, some stuff is out of your control because I know that we will have the person listening who's like, I've got so much. I have kids and people in this age in their 40s. It's like a lot of us have, myself included, elderly parents that
Yes.
need extra help. My mother I've talked about her a ton. She lives a mile away from here. She wasn't expected to live past my 18th birthday. She's not supposed to be here. She got really, really sick when I was in my senior year of high school and almost died from the cancer treatments that she was given. And as a result of her, she's still alive, but she has a lot of disability. She has one leg. She needs us. And so I have a special needs teen with profound autism. I've got my mother, I've got a toddler, and there's stuff that's unavoidable that we're just going to come into. But what I can avoid is listening to stuff on social media, saying yes to things that I know I don't have the energy for, even though it's a good opportunity. And that's a hard thing to do. You and I both. It's like we both really love what we do, but there comes a point where we just have to say, I have to take care of me.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And so, no, you're exactly right. And in sorting through our week, it's like I'm taking this as an opportunity to say, what might I enjoy doing? Because I do enjoy talking to you, right? Like Sarah and I, most people don't realize, but we literally probably spend the first 30 minutes of
Talk,
every,
catching up.
recording, not when we're not recording, just chatting, just catching up, just like be like,
Yeah.
hey, what's happening? How you doing? So I thoroughly enjoy this time that we share together, but this is ultimately a 90-minute time slot that I think for the summer, for a summer sabbatical, we can give up in order for me to then maybe do something that supports me not from a business perspective, not from a financial perspective, but from more of a like, how can I nourish or how can I just tend to myself? Can I meditate? Can I do some breath work? Can I just lay out naked in the sun and
Mhm.
soak up the sun at times when, that opportunity is not always there when kids are home from
Right.
summer vacation and things like that. So yeah, I just view this almost as like an opportunity now for me to say, okay, I had a lot of stressors, some that I caused, some that were unforeseen that I had no control over. And right now, that has added up to where my bucket is full. And
Hmm.
how can I drain my bucket a little bit? And this is just one that Sarah and I came up with as like, we can drain this bucket temporarily
Yeah.
in order for us to see if we can create a little bit of space elsewhere.
Yeah. So we're doing this episode, we're going to talk about, this nervous system regulation, saying no, kind of prioritizing yourself in the midst of all the crazy. But we're going to take a break from filming until probably mid-August, I would say. We
Yeah,
get the kids
yeah, yeah. Kids back at
situated.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there here are some things that my body's been telling me. Okay. Like you and I experience first, not that confluence. Well, I mean, traveling always can be a stressor. I think traveling
Well,
always
you
is
with
a
the
stressor.
three kids, traveling with three
Right.
children, it's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And as much as they're used to traveling, they're good travelers. It still is, it's a lot. It's like mom's mental checklist of sleeping in a tent. Like I
I
had no idea
know.
what to expect. It turned out being fine. It was fine. We actually had fun. My kids,
Yeah.
some of my kids are like, when are we going to go back? So I'm
Yeah.
like, and so it was fine. But at the same time, that's a huge amount of stress that I never even thought about because it's like mom pushes through, but it's like, I needed a circadian friendly flashlight. I needed to make sure we had, like the towel, it's like all these things to bring that I didn't anticipate I wouldn't have to bring if I was traveling somewhere else.
Yeah.
Traveling, we got there late at night. We didn't fall asleep until after 11 o'clock at night that first night that we got
Yeah.
there. I mean, there's so many
So
different
much.
layers in there, right? That you and I, as amazing of a time as we had at Confluence, just hanging out together, people were awesome, such a cool vibe. That was still a stressor.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
there was like a
our
big
bodies,
stressor that happened before we went
yeah,
to
there's a
fun.
huge emotional shitstorm that happened before we
We don't have to bring in the
left.
specifics, but let's just say in the quantum biology community, there was like a lot of drama. Our names brought into it
Unnecessary. Yeah.
unnecessarily. We had nothing to do with anything, but it was very stressful. A lot of people talked to me at Confluence and reached out to me and were like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, yeah, I couldn't eat for a couple of days, honestly. Like I would eat, like I stayed alive, but like I lost my appetite because of this drama that happened that was unnecessary, that had nothing to do with us. But because of what we do and putting out information and our faces being out there, we somehow got dragged into this stupid situation. And so there was that. The week and the week
Mhm.
before that, I had a client that did me real dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was ugly. I don't even need to get into that, but that was
We don't
very,
need to get into it.
very
It was, but
stressful.
stressor, still a
Yeah,
huge
very,
stressor.
very stressful. Somebody I like poured my time and energy to, and they did me real dirty. And then we had that, and then we had Confluence, and mine was stressful in different ways because
You
I
had
never,
to prepare to leave the house with, the intensity of the situation that you have at home.
and then
That's a
I got
huge
back, and
stressor.
my son, like, we had him so good where I was putting him to bed, and he was sleeping so good, and then me just being gone for 2 days, he was thrown off for a week and a half, just hysterical every night. I mean, he's just at that really vulnerable age where they're just sensitive. He's 2.5. And so
Mhm. Mhm.
he's still a baby. And so that was like, ugh. And the thing is, like,
Mhm.
with all of this, and then we jumped right into the bundle right when we got home from
Mhm.
Confluence, like right,
Literally in the
right into, and we're doing 3
planned
live
this.
streams a
Who
day,
planned
each
this
of us.
out?
What the heck?
Lessons
Um,
learned. Right though. I mean, all
yeah,
right. I mean, it was stressor after stressor. Some of them good. I mean, some of them had
good
good,
because
really
we
good
love
things
what we
to.
do. We love what we
Right.
do. We really
Right.
do. And I'm super blessed to be able to do it, but it's still like a lot of
Right.
energy. Yeah.
It still is. And it's still this awareness of, okay, my sleep was starting to suffer. My cycle length, I've been at 28 days for darn near a decade. And now I was at like 30, 31. Which might not sound like a big deal for people, but that's a big deal for me.
It's a
It's
big
my body
deal.
saying,
Yeah,
hello.
it's a big deal. I think I was at like 33, and that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I've been 28, 20, like not forever.
Clockwork. Yeah.
But we might have some male listeners who are like, I don't want to hear this, but like because
Too
of all
bad.
the stress that happened before Confluence, I was like almost a week late that month. And then that was not good because then I'm at
Mm-hmm.
and then this month again. another like
Yeah.
6 days
Yeah.
later. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not pregnant. That bridge is
Yeah.
when not trying to do that. As much as I would love to have like 5 more kids, my body is not wanting to do that again right now.
Well, it's a lot of physical, mental, emotional demand.
It
And
is.
there's the
Yeah.
difference between wanting and loving and enjoying the snuggles and the cuddles. And I mean, just
Yeah.
enjoying what you see at the shifts and the changes you see
Yeah.
versus the reality too, that it's a full-time job to be a
It's
parent.
very
And
hard
when,
on your body to be pregnant,
Mhm.
to breastfeed, to have the
Yeah,
sleepless
yeah.
nights, and then the emotional capacity that you need. My kids have all of my emotions like
Mhm.
tightly
Mhm.
wrapped up, like tightly wrapped up. Um,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
yeah.
So,
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So having that cycle thrown off, of course. So I started to experience something that I had completely gotten rid of, which was that 3 a.m. wake up call, right?
mhm.
That 3 a.m. you wake up and you can't go back to sleep,
Yep.
and
Same.
that was a huge, huge awareness for me. You and I both, the first day of Confluence, again, this is not the fault of Confluence, but we had
Headache.
horrible headaches, horrible headaches.
We found
God
the
bless
Quinton
the
booth.
Quinton ladies.
It's like, give me 50 of them.
I just guzzled the
I'll
whole
buy
thing.
all you have.
That was clutch. But it goes to reinforce, like, okay, if we have a headache, we do have some supports in there that we can try
Yeah.
to turn to.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, and then another one for me, Sarah. I don't think I've shared this with you. I'm getting colder easier,
Oh, there you go.
right? My body's going
Mhm.
into kind of like conserve and retreat mode. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, like I have enough signals for my body to be like, you're at the edge of pushing it way too far,
Yeah.
way too much, and
Yeah.
you need to pull back. And I need to take the advice that I give my clients of nourishment, safety, joy, and peace. Nourishment,
Yes.
safety, joy, and peace. And I really need to say, like, I was skipping breakfast
Yeah.
in there,
Ooh, girl.
chunks of times, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, it's just got to wait for me. It's like, well, let me just get
Yeah.
started on this one task. And then that one task took 3 hours as opposed to what I thought was going to take 3 minutes. And so it's like, okay, I'm happy that we've had
Mhm.
this experience to have this awareness to be able to shift and pivot and do things that our body is asking us to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And mine, I never skip breakfast, but I was not having nourishing meals in the afternoon. I would find myself, I'm like, why am I eating my toddler's food? This is not big girl food. You know, he eats what we eat, but I do make him like gluten-free chicken nuggets every now and then. And I'm finding
Yeah.
myself, instead of making myself a well-rounded meal, eating his nuggets. And I'm like, ew, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing? Because had missed lunch, and then it was like dinner time. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I'm like, yeah, why? I've had a headache. Like this month has been worse than even Confluence. Like I got a
Wow.
headache
I
on
can't
Friday.
imagine.
I could barely even see on Friday. And I haven't had hormonal headaches in a decade, literally a decade. And so I was just like shook. Like I couldn't eat. I mean, I had my breakfast, but like I couldn't do anything. And I finally broke down and resorted to a Coke Zero because I was like, I've been chugging Quinton. I'm doing everything I can. And I got to freaking have a Coke Zero. And that always takes my headache away.
Is it working?
Oh, yeah. It's great. Lay naked in the sun and drink a Coke Zero, and life is good again. But do not steal my health hack. Please do not
Yeah,
recommend.
please.
I highly
Not a daily basis.
do not recommend. But that's like the level that I've gotten to, because I kind of shared a little bit about that in a post last week of just like, I love what I do so much, but there is a limit. There is a limit. And I don't think that side really gets talked about when it comes to doing the stuff that we do. And it's very ironic because we're supposed to be talking about health and the pushing and the drama and just like the crazy stuff that a lot of people don't see. It happens to everybody. I was just talking with another friend of mine who's a doctor, that she's got like almost 500,000 followers on Instagram. And she's like, yeah, I'm cutting stuff, down, cutting things out, saying no. I'm like, yeah, it's at a certain point, you just have to start saying no to things and taking breaks from things, even if it's a good opportunity. You can't do everything.
Completely. Completely. And I I love what I do, right?
Mhm.
I love working with people and teaching people and reading research. I love it. I love it. I love it. But my number one job is also a mom.
Yes.
And I found that as I was overextending myself at work, because trying to push out, write, do too many videos, do another post, whatever it was, I was pushing myself at work. It was cutting back on my time where I was with my kids after
Yeah.
school. It's like,
Yeah.
let's go outside, let's play soccer, let's play basketball, let's just sit outside in the sun together. And so it started to affect that. It started to
Mhm.
affect the amount of time then that I was able to connect with my husband, because we both work from home some of the days of the week. He
Yeah.
has another office locations, but I work from home. And it was normal, like 2 days a week, we'd like to take a walk together. And I was bypassing the walk because there was these other things that were coming up. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, when is enough? Can I still put food on the table for my family? Are we clothed? Are we,
Yeah.
meeting our necessities? And then why am I pushing myself, like running myself ragged?
Hmm.
If the means is something like an additional financial gain, or maybe more followers or something along those lines, newsletter subscribers, like, but I'm sacrificing the quality of my relationships and the quality of life I have at home. It's just
Yeah.
not worth it to me.
Yeah. And that's a tough thing about what we do. Like I was on, somebody took the liberty of going onto my personal Instagram page, not even my business page, and trolling and like, and being like really mean under my family photos and my photo. I was just like, who has time for this? And it just actually really bothered me. I try not to let things get to me, or if they do, not to like, I never respond, I never react. I just do what I always do. I block and delete. But that does impact you. And I found myself getting short with my husband, getting irritated with my kids for just needing me because of that stupid interaction on social media. And I was just like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, I can't control what other people are going to do. People are always going to people. But that was a sign to me of just like, yeah, this ain't it. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I need more space or more capacity, more
Yeah.
distance from stuff like that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sarah, what are your, right now then, kind of like where we both are with a bit of overwhelm. Our bodies are kind of giving us the signs and the signals that we have pushed it too hard, too
Yeah.
far, too much. What are your non-negotiables for your self-care moving forward?
That's a great question. I'm actually going to join a gym tomorrow, which I know
Interesting.
is one of those things people are like, I know working out, but I have lost muscle since I had my son. I really do enjoy weightlifting. I did it for 20 years and it's something that brings
Mhm.
me joy and happiness. I have never been someone that's like, I don't want to go work out. I really do like lifting weights. And so that's something that brings me joy. And I need to
It's
get
some
my,
me time, right?
yeah,
Some
it's
me
me
time.
time.
Another way to get rid of stress.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
My
yeah.
son, and this is such a controversial topic. I hesitate to share it, but it was time for us to let my son go to a little nature school. I found a great little nature school. It's not close to my house. I wish it was. It's like 15-minute drive. We looked at so many places and he has really been wanting to be around other kids. Like really. And I know there's homeschool co-ops and pods and all that. Look, this was a decision that I didn't just sit on and say, let me just be willy nilly about it. This was a decision I thought long and hard about. And so he started a nature school last week. He's loving it. He's having a blast. I feel like this was such a great decision for him. And so I'm having to do this drive, there and back twice a day. And there's a gym right by it. So I'm like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to join this gym because I'm going to have to take him to school, his nature school. And I might as well go do that. And I really enjoy it. So my morning routine will stay. The nature school's super flexible because I still don't wake him up on a schedule. He's usually awake by 8:30, but I can drop him off anytime until 9:30. So my morning will stay the same. It still has. It's the waking up, going outside, grounding, eating a nourishing breakfast, hydrating, not looking at my phone, and then have that time for myself. And there's also the nature school is close to my mountain also. You can actually
Oh,
see the mountain from his school. So either to the gym 2, 3 days a week or to my mountain. That's my non-negotiable, is like getting back to that, because I stopped even going hiking. Like I think the last time I
wow.
did a hike was when Sarah was here, like in April. So I used to hike all the time, and now I haven't even been because I've just been like so consumed with work and just trying to be everything to everyone, and it's not working. So those are the things
It's not working
definitely.
for you and it doesn't work for anyone then. If it doesn't
No,
work for you, it doesn't work for anyone.
no, it's not good for anyone. And then getting to bed at a better time, winding down more intentionally, because I've definitely been bad about that also.
Yeah. No, I think that's very interesting. That's cool. That's cool that there's a gym right there, that location. I didn't know that it was close, that your son's school is closer to the mountain. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be,
That's
I
why
wish
that's
I
one of the reasons why I was like, okay, this is the one.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, I want to be closer to that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my non-negotiables for sure are I and it's not like I'm not consistent with this. But like I was skipping breakfast maybe once, maybe twice a week. I
Mhm.
am not going to do that. I want to be very consistent with that morning nourishment. I still always go outside at sunrise. I always get the earthing and the grounding, the light signaling. I typically do a morning walk, but I don't have the same luxury when the kids are not at school to actually maybe walk because I still have young kids that I can't just, leave for an hour to go on a walk. But I'm going to be more diligent, especially now that our deck was destroyed. My husband built a deck last year,
Oh.
right? And it got destroyed during a wind thunderstorm, right? Basically, the entire thing had a huge tree on it, just completely shattered. So that's being finished right now. So once the deck again is done, I want to make it that reestablish that habit because that faces east. I would always like to go
Mhm.
outside, have my nourish, like I get my sunrise eyes, come back inside, get my breakfast, go outside, eat my breakfast outside, and then read a book. And I got into the habit of having like either like skipping breakfast, and it's like I wouldn't necessarily scroll on my phone, but it's like let me listen to a
Yeah. You
podcast, let
open
me
it,
read a research article, you open it, and I just want to read a legit
book.
book.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also, some days, I want to make sure during that time I'm breathing hydrogen. I have gotten away from that as
Oh no. See,
well.
I still do that every night. I have to.
I have gotten away from that and I need to get back to it because I can totally tell the difference. My body's resilience is way less without it, that's for
Mm,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love therapeutic bathing. I love baths, and I still do them occasionally because I love them so much. But I want to actually maybe during this time slot I want to go outside. I want to go not outside. I'll go outside too, but I want to go to the bath and I want to do my
Yeah.
Epsom salt baths, my baking soda baths, my Dead Sea salt baths, and just soak. And when I go into the bath, I'm not going to do anything. Sometimes I try to
Yeah.
multitask in the bath
No,
even.
I do
Why do I do
too.
that?
I do the same thing. It's so silly. It's like just lay there. Like I don't need to.
Lay there.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that at night because I would always try to have to listen to something while I was laying in bed and
Yeah.
doing my biomat and all my little things. And I've the last few nights, not or the last couple of weeks actually, I've intentionally cut the phone, put it off, no more listening to anything, even if it's on airplane mode,
Mm-hmm.
download. I'm just not. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
in silence, just laying there. And that has helped a lot with my sleep, definitely.
Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. 100%, 100%. And it's like even a book at night. So like just put it down and just
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you say that because as I get into this cycle here of like the past 3 months or whatever of more stress, more busyness, go, 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 do, I have a hard time in my downtime
Same. And that's it.
not
I was
not
going to say
doing
that
anything.
can be a sign of nervous system dysregulation. I recognize that. It's like
Mhm.
if I always have to have something going, if I always have to be listening to something in order to do things, in order to wind down, that is problematic. And I know a lot of people, they go through this of they have to listen to a podcast all the time. They have to be having something going all the time and they can't just, and I know that because I've been there and I know
Same.
and I have a lot of clients that way too, where I'm like, And they're listening to me, which is like sweet because they're like, you're like my best friend. You're like my best friend. I listen to you all the time. I listen to your podcast, and it's just like you're there with me all the time. I'm like, but you just sometimes need to not listen. Just be okay with the quiet. And yeah, you're gonna have thoughts, but it's part of letting your nervous system just kind of chill.
Yeah. So interesting. I was on a podcast yesterday, lovely individual. His name is Mark. And he started a podcast because the long story short is he interacted with a shaman, right? And
Mm.
the shaman was like, and he was just like, well, how do you help people? Like, what are the best ways that you help people feel better? And the shaman said he's got four things that he asks. When was the last time you sang? When was the last time you danced? When was the last time you felt like you could share a story,
Mm.
like a joyful story? And then when was the last time you were in stillness? And it's like,
Mm.
I thought he's just said that yesterday. I'm like, I'm never
Yeah.
still. I don't know the last time I sang or danced was,
I do it
and
for
I
my
mean,
son, but
well, sure, sure. Right. There you go. I mean, and like, yeah, there's stories, but like a lot of times the stories have an edge to them of like you and I, it's like we vent, right? It's a venting type story. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with venting. Like I don't want to bottle it up, but at the same time, I don't know, when was the last time that I just had this joyful story that I wanted
Yeah.
to share with someone? And so I thought that was wildly profound. I was expecting him to say like medicinal herbs or ayahuasca or like like those more those types of strategies, and
Hmm.
that's what Mark was expecting too, and it was none of that. It
I love
was
that.
sing, dance, stillness, and story.
Love
It
that.
just rang so true to my current life situation.
Yeah, because no one's, I mean, and the thing is that we're all in some ways looking for a hack to not do these
Hmm.
basic things. I know that there isn't a hack for that stuff. I found that out the hard way. You just can't hack human interaction. You can't hack quiet. You can't hack stillness. You can't hack joy. There's no pill, there's no psychedelic. It just isn't. And I know someone might argue with me for that, but I see people getting into dangerous spirals with these psychedelics, not to say there's no use for them and they should be discarded, but I see people going into overuse and abuse of them because they're trying to bypass all of these things that we need naturally. Um, so there's something to
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah, I mean that those types of things are if we have to I'm not at this phase, right? But if we have to rely on something outside of ourselves to bring us joy all the time, or like you said, or bring us, it's like I have more work to do then, and I've never tried psychedelics. And again, I'm not
Yeah.
downing people who do, but like
Mhm.
if that is your, if that's your go-to all the time to reach this certain state of joy or pleasure, whatever it is, and yeah, for me, mine I know is lack of stillness,
Yeah.
lack of stillness.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to just, it's stupid as it sounds, Sarah, but I used to dedicate 5 minutes a day to just sit and stare at trees,
Oh, I love that.
and I
I
and I
love
don't do
that.
it anymore.
You
I don't
know.
do it anymore, and that's just 5 minutes to sit and stare at trees. How hard is
Well, I
that?
mean, I used to have my meditation practice. I have fallen out of rhythm with that hugely.
Same,
I was a
same.
daily meditator for 5 years straight. And then
Mhm.
I would say after my son was born, I got out of that twice a day habit. I went to maybe once a
Mhm.
day. And then over the last year, it went to like none. Or I would do it
Yeah,
before bed, which is, I mean, it's still something, but
not
um,
ideal. Yeah.
yeah, and now I don't even do it. And my husband's like, "Are you meditate?" Because we have the same practice, the Vedic meditation, and he gets out of practice. Like he's been waking up at night, kids, and so he'll go downstairs and
Mhm.
meditate in the middle of the night. I'm like, "Yeah, we both we both need to get
Yeah.
back to practice because that was something that always, I mean, deeply relaxing, would cut the energy of the day, would cut the mental chatter, all of it. It was just a beautiful practice. And we get away from the things that are helpful because we think there's other things that are more important. And at the end of the day, I feel like if we cut ourselves off from the stillness, if we cut ourselves off from that intentional stillness, we're going to shift the no amount of busyness, no amount of success is going to be fruitful, in my opinion, because you're cutting yourself off and creating a level of soul sickness and stress in the body.
Totally. 100% that's the case. And yeah, I love how you say you can't hack these. And I don't even know at this point, I don't know if my brain would be able to jump back into a meditation practice. I think I just need to go back into just not doing, just
Yeah.
being and
Yeah.
not doing.
Yeah.
And I'm certain I've done meditation enough that I'm certain that after a short period of time it'll come back. But yeah, it's wild to me too how it really only took 3 months of ramping up of things that I couldn't control, but and then me adding and me just keep adding things that I can control, but saying yes, saying yes, saying yes, saying yes. And this is and I'm not like look at we're not in debilitating health, right? Like
No,
it
no,
has not knocked me
no.
on it's not knocked me on my butt. I'm not bedridden. I'm not, you know, so I'm grateful, but I'm grateful that I've reached that point of awareness. I'm grateful you too. Like you both reached that point of awareness of like where can I pull back and what is my body truly asking for?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And yeah, I have a wait list of private clients
Yeah.
and people
Yep.
that want me. And I got to spend some time with my family, my kids, my husband, you know,
Yourself.
self. I do. And I want to help and I want to do all the things. Like, I wish I could duplicate myself to do it. But at the end of the day, like, we're human and we're not meant to be everywhere all the time helping everyone. We have to take these seasons of rest because a headache, a late cycle, a headache, waking up at 3 in the
Cold body temperature. Yeah.
cold body. I just, when you said that, I realized I was wearing a hoodie this
In
weekend
Georgia.
in Georgia. That's a little
Hmm.
odd in my house, granted, but still,
Sure.
I had to pull the hoodie out. Yeah, cold body temperature, lack of appetite. That's a big one
Yeah.
for me because I've never had that problem my whole life. But the last couple of months, I'm just like nauseated because of my stress. I'm like, I can't, I just,
Cortisol,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. And yeah, I mean, we could talk about this stuff all day, but perimenopause is a huge, huge viral topic. I've post about it on my page, but and I'll continue to share more about it the deeper I get into it myself, obviously, because I'm gonna be 46. It's a thing. I'm just finding that my body is not as resilient as it was. I can't eat stuff that I used to and get away with it. I can't skip meals and get away with it. I can't stress out over things and get away with it anymore. I will get a hormonal headache. I will have a late cycle. I will freaking rip your head off over something stupid and fly off the handle. And it's not because I need to pour hormones into my body necessarily. That's not where I'm at right now. It's because I know I've been treating my body like an asshole. It's like, just that's my truth. I will
Yeah.
continue to be open. I do take progesterone the last 14 days of my cycle. So I guess you could say I do some HRT, but I
Yeah.
haven't felt the need to go to the estrogen, which is the one everyone says can be the really helpful thing for some of those issues. I know that the reason I'm having these problems is that I'm like the cortisol is so high that I'm wiping out everything else. That's
Yeah.
biology, you know?
100%. 100%. Yeah. And so no, that you're 100% right because I think what most of I think our the way we're describing our lives and the busyness of our lives, the stressors that we've given ourselves plus the stressors that we can't control, I would say that that's very common for
Very.
people. You
Yep.
know, in this stage of life where you're in the throes of your career and you're raising a family and you've got a relationship that you that needs tending to as well to continue to develop and strengthen that relationship. And I think it's very common to get
Hmm.
to the point where we feel stretched thin.
Hmm.
And at this point in time, the most people would then won't pull back and say, well, what can I do to nourish myself or give myself the safety signals or give myself, you know, the correct circadian rhythm treatment again, or and turn to HRT. Not that, like I said, not that HRT is wrong,
Right.
but at this point right now, that is nowhere near on my horizon that I think I need to address. Like that, HRT is probably number 20 on the list of things that
Yeah.
I would rather implement first
Yeah.
in order to see how my body comes back into balance and regulation.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I think, for a lot of people. And we, like I was saying earlier, we want the pill or the hack or the supplement. We have to do the foundational stuff. And I'm sitting here
Yeah.
thinking, like, oh crap, I need to delete like half this episode. I just talked way too much. But I'm hoping that us sharing like this is relatable in some way to someone. Not that people necessarily do what we do for a living, but that people do have careers and jobs and lives, and they take a step back and say, how much of this is necessary? How much of it is not? And one thing I realized over the last, since, gosh, like before, like the start of May is when all this stuff kicked off with the client who did me dirty, and then the drama, and then the confluence, and then the bundle. I would get worked up about situations, and I would have a feeling, this feeling of like anger and rage, or like just a feeling. And the feeling was the same across situations. The characters would change and I would feel the same. And that's when I had to take a step back and say, this is my part in all of this, is that I'm allowing myself to, in some way, be some sort of a victim, or like feel angry and enraged. Not that we're supposed to let people walk all over us or anything like that, but we have to sometimes take a step back and say, what's the common variable?
Common pattern.
Right. What is happening here? It's doing the same thing to my body. It's a different situation. It's different people. This is my part in it, that I'm allowing it to continue to occur. I'm allowing it to continue to affect me in this way. So I have to take a step back and make a change. End of story. Yeah, us taking a break is part of that for sure. For sure.
Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, that's huge introspection. I remember you shared that with me. I think it was just the end of last week where it was just
Yeah.
like, what a what a cool awareness, Sarah, to be able to say, because otherwise, like you said, otherwise it's very also common to continue on
The
with
cycle will continue.
blaming. The cycle will continue until you have that moment of awareness. It will
Yep.
continue. And
Yep.
now it's not just the moment of awareness is great. Like you and I, it's okay. It's like, but then what can we do to break that cycle?
Yes.
Where can I pull back? Where can I shift, pivot, and change? And you and I have, I think, a pretty understanding dynamic going on where we recognize that we can want to support each other, and you want to support me, I want to support you. And I think both of us need a moment here with
Yep.
this in order to
Definitely.
have even just that extra 90 minutes
Yep.
on a week to be able to put some restoration back in.
Yeah, I know. And I'm even thinking of my other podcast, of like taking some time off that one too, which I have not taken a break from releasing an episode since I started that podcast in the beginning of 2020. So it's been 5.5 years of a weekly
Wow.
episode, sometimes two. And I've never taken time off. I've never taken a break. And sometimes you have to just step back and say, if this was meant to be, and it is supposed to be something that I'm supposed to be doing, if I step away from it and I come back, then cool. And it's good. You know, it will be
Yeah.
okay. It will be okay. I think so many people, like I said earlier, maybe they don't do what we do. They do something totally different, but they're afraid, if they take a step back, if they take a break, if they put it down for a bit, then what's going to happen? What's the
Right.
what's the worst thing that could happen? I just decide I don't want to do it anymore. Okay. Then what? It's like you have to think it all the way through sometimes
Yeah.
in life, because our health is so important. It's Health is wealth. It really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, when I was in a very different situation when I was going through my adrenal fatigue issues, but I came to yes, light literally changed my cortisol signaling. It changed my melatonin
Yeah.
signaling. It got me so much further in terms of it recovering my energy, recovering my sleep, recovering, healing my digestive tract. It was a game changer. But in parallel with when I was also changing my light signaling, I asked myself the question, what can I say no to?
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time, I only
Yeah.
had one kid, right? I only,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had a brick and mortar business. It looked very different. But I still was able to sort through at least six things where I was just like, this is where I'm stretching myself too thin. What can it look like for me to transform these unique circumstances into a win-win? Sometimes it was just me being able to pull back, shift, pivot, and change. But sometimes it required a conversation with someone else to be like, is this workout time slot working for you? Can we shift it a little later than 5 o'clock in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Can it look different? And it was just opening that conversation up. I also, huge for me, and was I had a rental agreement where I was sharing what was called a prorated amount of utilities with the building. So I was renting a portion of a very large, facility.
Mm-hmm.
But the facility had two restaurants, a huge high ceilings, walkway, middle of winter requires a ton of heating
Oh
in
yeah.
Michigan. And so my utilities were turning out to be the same amount as my monthly rent, and it was stretching me thin.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me kind of humbling myself and having a conversation with the landlord to say, look, I know this is what I agreed to. This is just not, was not on my radar. I was not anticipating this. Can we have a conversation about it? And
Mm-hmm.
sure enough, we were able to have a conversation about it. It's not that they took it away, but we created more of what I felt like was a win-win situation. And that was another additional stressor that I could reduce somewhat just by
Yeah.
having that conversation. Um, the number of clients there during that stretch of time too, there's like a really significant monthly stretch of time there where I was like, if I tell my clients I can only train them once a week as opposed to twice a week, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna go someplace else. Their fitness is gonna suffer. Not one client got mad at me for that. Not one client. And in fact, clients were like, yeah, you can still charge me to save this time slot. I know, blah, blah, blah. It's like things opened up and shifted
Amazing.
and changed just
Yeah.
because I gave myself permission
Yep.
to explore a different circumstance or different opportunities.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people get trapped is the doing energy. I could say masculine energy, whatever. Just the doing, this strategy, the showing up, the being there. And there is a certain amount of that's required in life that we have to do. But oftentimes, if it's meant to be, like I said, then the doors will open, the right things will fall into place, the right people will appear at the right times. And that's because it was supposed to happen. If something is not supposed to happen, it's going to feel like dragging your foot in the mud. And you have to really get to a place where in situations, relationships, jobs, whatever, where you have to say, this is energetically no longer a fit for me. And that was me in 2020 of like teaching yoga class all the time. I was so inflamed, and working out. And 2020 happened, everything shut down. And I was like, well, dang, I guess I'm not going to have a job anymore. And I didn't. And it was one of the best things that could ever happen to me, honestly. Like literally, that one of the best things that could ever happen to me. I had to change everything and do things completely differently. But that had really not felt congruent for about a year, like teaching and being in public classes and the yoga community and just all of it had felt very incongruent for me for a while. And so sometimes things get decided for us.
That same thing with me. At first there was anger, fear, uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I had a brick and mortar wellness facility too, fitness stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's like, but this actually gave me an opportunity to reassess, pivot, shift, try something different.
Yeah.
And I am grateful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful because I really love being able to share the health strategies that we teach or the experiences that we have with clients, to help support other people. I love learning about health through the lens of light, water, ether, consciousness. I love it. I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
so, what was a period of uncertainty and kind of a little bit fearful ultimately turned into something beautiful. I just needed to allow it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, anything else you want to add to the conversation? I feel like, as usual, I've said too much, but it's fine.
I think the name of the game is authenticity. Did you hear Alex interview with Zach Bush?
No, I haven't listened to that yet. It is on my
I,
list.
I only listened to a clip of it that was posted on Instagram, but it was Zach said that there was an interesting study that was done, and it was looking at the different basically states of emotion in conjunction with health parameters, both subjective health parameters, but also objective ones that could be measured. And I think the assumption across the board is that the general assumption is when we're in a status of joy and love, like we're in our best health, and when we're in a state of fear and anger and hatred, we're in our worst health. And certainly there is a trend to that.
Mhm.
But what the study found is that when you felt most authentically yourself, you had the best health outcomes.
I love
And so
that.
that authenticity is also us being like reevaluating, like, what is authentically me in this moment? How do I need to show up in this moment to be able to be that authentic version of myself? And, I just encourage other people to kind of explore if this is something that resonates with them.
Yeah. And everyone's not going to like you for being authentic. That is okay. Just don't comment.
Okay.
Just, I don't need to hear it. Just go away. I will block you.
But you'll be blessed too.
I will bless you and then I will block you. I will not respond. That's just the policy. And do that in your own life too. The people that are meant to be there will be kind, even if they disagree with you, even if they will be kind. So just take that with you.
Love
Yeah.
it. It's so true.
All right. We'll be back probably mid-August. Thank you for watching
Yeah.
and stay subscribed. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are. So when we do come back, you will be notified. All right.